Hi there, everybody. I'm Bob Walters. This is another special episode of Local Film Talk. What we have today is the Q&A from the third block of short films on Sunday at the 10th Annual Carrboro Film Festival, which is held every year in Carrboro, North Carolina. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a second to thank the Carrboro Film Festival, the Carrboro Art Center, and festival director Nick Beery, they were all nice enough to let us cover the event and to put it out as an episode for you guys. So I hope you enjoy.
Sure. I'm Jake, and I'm the co-writer of Just the Body.
I'm Andrea, and I was the first assistant director on Danny Freud.
Hi, I'm Yale Giffen. I was Dr. Blair in Knob Goblins.
I'm Ish. I shot Knob Goblins.
I'm Christopher G. Moore. I directed and wrote Knob Goblins.
I'm Adam, and I edited the Ferguson doc.
And we have a couple of special guests there. It's the same guy. Yeah. Tell us about that.
This is the main big one that we actually had to manipulate. We actually have screws on it so we can move it, and then that one's for the close-ups for the penis chomping.
Well, all right. Well, let me open it up to the audience here. Who's got some questions for these great filmmakers? Any questions? Yeah, Marilyn.
Where did we get Knob Goblin? Actually, a local filmmaker and writer named Bill Mulligan. He actually does special effects as well. When we were working on this project, I really wanted to do a creature movie, and I actually, okay, you can stop that now. I wanted to do a creature movie, and so I just basically put a post on Facebook. I was like, anybody who helped me make it, and Bill Mulligan, he contacted me, and I drew up a sketch of what it looked like, and I didn't realize until he made it that it was very phallic looking, which is very appropriate, I guess. And he did a really great job with it. It was a little too realistic.
Thank you, Christopher. Jake, you did Just a Body. Great musical. I've never seen a musical with that storyline. Tell us a little bit about how that all came about, and it was a big production. And tell us a little bit about the production itself.
So, for Just a Body, it was a UNCSA production, as you all may know. But it took about 2 years. It was actually greenlit as a third. We pitched it as a third year, and then it was greenlit as a fourth year. And so we spent 2 years just chugging this out, and like there were so many drafts of it, just 15 or so. So like the story came about is like I wanted to tell a story about a woman who, has her way with a body and was forced to do so. And at first I pictured it as a horror film or something along the lines of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then I was thinking about the how UNCSA is with productions and how that would probably be way more of a nightmare than need be, and so I thought, well, let's do it as a musical because the director wanted to do a musical. So, and I wasn't at the time the biggest fan of musicals, and so through the process, I was trying to find a way to make this appealing to me. So yeah. Did you succeed? Yeah. No. Through we genuinely love musicals now. So.
Tell us more about your film and how you got the idea for it.
So I'm actually the editor. I worked with Orlando de Guzman, who's a local director here. We went to Ferguson together in November to prepare for the grand jury announcement, which is what you saw in the very beginning of the film. While we were there, we sort of realized that a lot of the media coverage was misdirected. It was all about the details of the interaction between Mike Brown and Darren Wilson, which was not the story. The story was what the citizens of Ferguson and the surrounding municipalities go through on a daily basis, which is they are victims of a exploitative policing system that's more concerned with the generation of revenue than public safety. So yeah, this is our attempt to redirect that conversation where it's more appropriate.
Did you come away with a new outlook at all? Did it change anything? Change your mind?
Oh, certainly. I mean, all of that was new to me. So I arriving on the ground there, we did not know any of that, and it was just through talking and meeting and getting to know our characters that we discovered it.
How long were you there?
I was there a month.
Oh, good. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. And I'm sorry, I didn't catch which film you did.
Danny Freud.
Oh, Danny Freud. Okay. Can you tell us about Danny Freud? That is an awesome film.
Sure. Well, it's a fun, dark comedy. I know that the director was handed the script to make for UNCSA for her third year, and she loved it immediately. She has a very dark sense of humor, and so it really spoke to her. Is there anything specific?
Well, how did you cast the boy? He was perfect.
Oh my gosh. He's actually the child of one of our professors. Yeah. We had a fun time explaining the script to him, but he's a lot like Danny. He's a sharp kid. So he picked it up really quickly. He was fantastic. Yeah. Yeah.
Any questions? Yes. So how did you work with the kids to get them to do such great performances?
A lot of it was casting. They saw a lot of kids to pick who would actually, make it into the film. And Danny Julian was, of course, phenomenal, and he just rose above the rest. But in the process of rehearsals, the director worked with the kids, and instead of just rehearsing with Julian, the boy who played Danny, they rehearsed with the entire family. So the mom and the dad and the son, Danny, all together to get that familial sense, and I think it really shines through. He's very comfortable, and that's just ample rehearsal.
And how long did you rehearse, and how long were you in production?
Rehearsal was 2 months before production. Yeah, I think about once a week. So it was less rehearsal of the lines and more just getting to know each other, the director getting to know the younger actors, just having that level of comfort there. Yeah. And then production was 3 days.
3 days, and then post-production?
Post-production took 3 months, yeah. The original score takes time, and so.
Thank you. More questions? Anybody? I have another question for Just a Body. Speaking of the timeline, when you do a musical, you probably had to compose the music, get it recorded. Tell us all briefly about that process and how long those steps took.
We're still working on it, actually. No, so yeah, it just forever. You're forever in post-production with a musical such as this with like UNCSA. It's so we had a Tim track on set that was recorded like a couple months beforehand, and then after that it's tinkering it forever until it's done. So, yeah.
Did you record any music, replace any music after the fact in post-production, or was everything set and then you?
You're right. Like the entire score was actually built. Like we had such trouble like getting people to work on it just because of what the school schedule was like, and so we like the entire instruments were composed by high school students. Wow. Yeah.
Impressive. Yeah. Evan, go ahead.
Body, you've got the heavy saturation. What was the thought process going on in the actual coloring of the movie?
Right. The biggest influence was the NGM musicals of the 1950s, and so we were trying to emulate that look as much as possible. Heavy reds, heavy greens, heavy everything. So if only we could shoot it on film and actually make it look like Technicolor, but so, but yeah. So.
Great. Any other questions? Yeah, Tracy.
So this one's for Christopher. A lot of times filmmakers draw on their own life experience for film. So I was wondering, like, what your childhood background was like, if this is from a personal experience.
Yeah, it's based on a true story. No. I wanted to do sort of a modern fable, modern sort of Christian fable. I grew up in a Southern Baptist background, and your parents always tell you certain things, don't do that or you're going to go to hell type stuff. And so I thought, what would be something Christian parents would tell their kids not to play with themselves, to save themselves from marriage? And I thought, I could easily see someone making up like a knob goblin as a reason. Like, if you play with yourself, the knob goblin's going to bite your penis off. So save yourself for marriage, you know. So that was the main reason. Plus, I wanted to make something that made all the guys in the room cross their legs at the same time. So that, to me, that's the best part. Hearing everybody in the room groan at the same time. That's why I'm a filmmaker, to hear that.
Well, I just want to say that it was actually a little better watching the audience at a certain point than watching the film. Though
That's what I do.
Lean
Usually I look
over.
around and see what people, how their facial expressions, or if somebody walks out. Those are the type of things I hope for.
Anybody walk out on that film? No? You did all right? Yes. What happens to the female?
Well, I wanted to make something where females weren't the ones that are always in peril. I wanted to make something that only killed guys, and Knobgoblin's probably like the best friend of most females because it'll go after your ex. So, but yeah, I wanted too many horror films are based around women screaming. I wanted the guys to be the ones in pain screaming. So it's kind of twisted, but equal time, you know, equal opportunity. That's what that's all about.
Any other questions? Yeah, Warren.
Well, you know, I have an Indiegogo campaign right now, so if you want to buy a Knobgoblin crocheted version of the creature, if you want a Knobgoblin condom, Knobgoblin Christmas ornament, Knobgoblin 80s lunch pail, T-shirts. Yeah, I'm a regular Star Wars merchandiser when it comes to this, so... But yeah, that is something I'm looking into. And actually, I went to the New York City Horror Film Festival last weekend where our film was on screen on opening night. And a lot of people were asking if we're going to make a sequel or if we're going to make a feature. So I'm actually thinking about making a feature version involving, not the same story, but a continuation involving Nobby. So.
Yes, thank you. What are your next projects?
Living.
Like it. I'm working on my 4th year film at UNCSA called Broken. It's a period piece about a young boy who comes home from the Civil War and has to confess to his mother that he killed his own brother.
Whatever crazy thing Christopher Moore talks me into next.
I'm going to be buying a new camera soon, so that's my next project.
Actually, I'm writing a haunted house feature, and also actually Eric Pruder wrote Keepsake. He also wrote Foodie and Disengaged. Disengaged played here last year. We're actually working on another short film idea. So there's a lot of things I'm juggling right now.
I have another film coming out soon with the same director, Orlando de Guzman, called Rio Bizarro. About the political crisis in Brazil as seen through 2 characters that dress up like Batman and take on, I don't know, government malfeasance.